Good night. Mwah! Hello, I'm Pi, like the number, and I want to take you, yes, you, to Makeup Town. Today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different than what I normally do, and we're going to be testing out the Juvia's Place Shade Sticks. My foundation stick of choice has been the Kryolan TV Paint Stick for a couple years now. I used to use the Mayron sticks, but I found them to be a little bit too greasy, and I was still learning how to do makeup, so they blended and moved around my face a little bit too much, and honestly, I just haven't really had the drive to try them out again. But alas, my TV paint sticks were running low, and I thought, maybe it's time to try something new. This is very difficult for me. I'm a creature of habit, so trying something new is very scary. But I had heard so many good things about the Juvia's Place foundation sticks that I had to try them. So I click-clacked on the website and went and I said, Juvia's Place foundation sticks. And they were $8 a piece. So naturally, I bought 4. So before we get started, if you're new here, hello, I'm Pi. I do drag tutorials and apparently other drag related things here on YouTube. And I live, laugh, love, wacky drag. And if that's something that you also really like, hit subscribe and maybe like this video. We're gonna get along really, really, really well. So to start, I figured I would do some side-by-side swatch tests between the Kryolan TV paint sticks and the Juvia's Place sticks. So if you're not interested in this part, just skip to the next part. You can look at the little marker down at the bottom. So these are the usual shades that I use for the TV paint sticks. I use the 070 for my highest highlights, 2W for my base color, 5W for my contour color, and then 11W for my deepest contour. Now, I don't really use a lot of like normal foundation. I really only use Kryolan for drag makeup, so I had a little bit of a difficult time figuring out exactly what shades I needed. So I'm kind of excited to see if I actually matched these shades correctly because I had to do a lot of internet sleuthing, YouTube browsing, blog scrolling. It took a lot of work for me to try to figure out what shades were gonna work, but I think I might have done it. For my highlight shade, I usually use Kryolan brand 070, which is a pure white. So to replace that, I'm using Juvia's Place's lightest shade, which is called Toyko. It does, of course, have a little bit more pigment in it, but I think it'll work just fine. For my base shade, to compare with the Kryolan 2W, I'm using the shade Luxor. You know, this one, it doesn't have too big of a difference. It definitely has a little bit more of a yellow undertone than my shade, but I think we can make that work. So for my lighter contour, I usually use 5W by Kryolan, and this one I did have a little bit of difficulty trying to find an exact match for, but I did land on Panama. Just like the other ones, it has a little bit more of a yellow undertone that I think might work. I think this one is less doable than the base shade and the highlight shade, so I might have to work without this one. For my deepest contour shade, I usually use 11W, and I found a comparable shade called Jacmel. While this one also does have a little bit more of a yellow undertone, I think this one might work. Now that we know what shades we're going to be using where, let's go ahead and test them out. For primer today, I'm going to use the e.l.f. Poreless Primer, the e.l.f. Poreless Primer Putty. All right, moment of truth. Let's go ahead and see how the base shade Luxor works on a neck test. All right, so I think that might work. Let's go ahead and apply that all over the face. So initial thoughts, it definitely is a lot smaller than the TV paint stick, so it is taking a little bit longer to spread all over my face, but it seems to be applying pretty similarly, maybe a little bit more greasy than the Kryolan TV paint stick, but those are pretty dry, so I'm not too surprised. And now I'm just blending this out using a jumbo non-beauty blender brand beauty blender. Well, the monitor is making me look like a wax doll, and it's definitely a lot more yellow than the shade that I would normally use. But in real life, it's not quite as dramatic of a difference. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this onto the neck and we'll work with it. So far, I have pretty good feelings about this foundation stick. It applied pretty easily. It's definitely a little bit more greasy than the Kryolan TV paint stick, but that is kind of to be expected. The Kryolan TV paint sticks are much more dry in texture and the way that they apply than, let's say, Mayron or these sticks. But overall, it applied pretty nicely. It definitely has great coverage, which is what I need for drag. So let's go ahead and see how the highlight color applies. For highlight, we're going in with the shade Tokyo. Alright, now that I've gone ahead and I have applied and blended out the highlight color, I'm feeling pretty good about this. I might want to go in and hyper highlight some other high points on my face just because I think I lost some of the pigment as I was blending it in with the base. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Let's go ahead and contour using the shade Jacmel. Using a beauty blender, these are blending pretty nicely with each other. Like I normally do, I am going to be going in and reinforcing the highlights once again, just to make sure that the contour is not creeping up too high on the high points of my face. But overall, the color is diffusing quite nicely. I'm going to go ahead and do my eyebrows off camera really quick using the same technique that I normally would, which is taking my contour shade with a large angle brush and mapping them out. Alright, I've got my brows done. I did some other finishing touches to make sure everything looked the way I needed it to look. And I think I'm ready to go ahead and set this with the Ben Nye Luxury Neutral Set. Oh baby, now that this is set, I am kind of into it. I wasn't sure before because the tones were a little off, but even with the tones that I picked, this is kind of working. The neck ended up blending really nicely in with my actual skin tone, even though I was expecting it to be a little bit too yellow. The contour shades are really working as well. There's a little bit of patchiness right here, but honestly, I think that really is user error. Don't tell anybody. I'm not as used to blending this kind of cream as much as I am with the Kryolan cream, which I've mentioned in previous videos. It does stick a little bit more. It's a little bit more difficult to blend, so you can be a little bit more aggressive and it's harder to over blend it. While these creamier foundations, it is a little bit easier to blend, so it is possible to over blend. So I think I was trying to kind of undercompensate and left this a little bit harsh right here, but I'm very excited to see how all of my contours and blushes apply on top of this now. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera. And we are back with some blush and some contour. I'm very pleased with how this is all going, so I think what I'm going to do is do the rest of my face off camera, and then I will be back to show you the final look. And here's the finished look. You know, bitch, so far I'm kind of fully live, laugh, loving this foundation, but let's put it to the test. I'm gonna go record some content and I'll be back in a couple hours to see how it holds up, so I'll see you soon. Hello, and we are back. I've been sitting in front of the ring light for 2 hours and my head is a little sweaty. I want to take this wig off, but let's see how the Juvia's Place shade sticks held up. So overall, there's no creasing or anything. Everything is still looking pretty smooth. Nothing seems to be like peeling off of my face, which is great. I did make sure that I set everything pretty well, but again, it is a little hot in front of this ring light and I don't have the fan going too high right now. So it is a little bit warmer than usual. And this little splotchy splotch right there, this evil little bitch, is a regular occurrence for me. My eyes love to do this thing where they just like cry and then I have to deal with it in my makeup. But the foundation is looking literally the same as when I put it on. So I would say that the Juvia's Place shade sticks are pretty awesome. They're also only $8, which is like mind-blowing, which means that I did my entire face in... That means that I did my entire foundation, highlight, and contour for $24, and they're all different products. Now, the only thing that I will say is that they are pretty limited with the amount of product that you get inside of them, but for $8, you know what? I'll take it because this did work out quite nicely. I really don't have anything bad to say other than my own technical errors because I was rushing a little bit. Overall, I would say this was a slam dunk. Ding dong. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Did you like this, me reviewing things? Did you like that I am giving you my honest feedback about this? Because I really didn't know how I was gonna feel about this product. If this is something that you would like to see of me more often, put a comment down below. Is there something that you think would be fun to watch me try out for the very first time? Let me know. I'm more than happy to try it if y'all are gonna enjoy it, you know? There are 3 things in life that you get to pick: your friends, your nose, and the people that you subscribe to on YouTube. So hit subscribe. I put out new videos every week-ish. But until next time, bye! Ooh, 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 good night!